we had several singles out, and I felt that it was all kind of like lateral movement. It was like they were okay, but they weren't great. And I felt that we kind of had to sit down and try to figure it out. And an opportunity kind of presented itself because this bar in Aylmer, Quebec, on the Quebec side, was looking for somebody to play for 3 months.
Like a residency?
Yeah, January, February, March, into April, actually, almost 4 months. And I said, look, we should just take this gig. And it was 3 nights a week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It might have been Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because it was Quebec. And I said, we'll take the gig and we'll just rehearse 7 days a week. And we'll get all the original material. I'll work on all the original material, and we'll get an original set together. And at the end of the 4 months, we'll get industry people here to hear us. And it actually worked. I mean, after the 4 months, you could not believe how tight we were. I mean, I've never been in a band since that was that tight as that band at that time, because we literally just practiced 7 days a week, and the harmonies were ridiculous. And so we had a 45-minute set, basically, of original material, and we wouldn't even play it at night. We'd play cover stuff at night. We were playing McCartney, Band on the Run. We were playing, 10cc, Rubber Bullets, and then we were practicing these songs. And so at the end of the 4 months, we invited a bunch of people down. We wound up getting a manager, and we wound up doing some demos of those songs. And then the demos, the new manager put them out there, and they got turned down by everybody. So this would be Dream Never Dies, Rock and Roll Cowboys. All of those songs got turned down at the demo stage. And then he talked to a guy in Montreal that he knew, and that guy put up the money for the first album. And we went to Toronto, and that's when we recorded the first album, It Sounds Interchange, in Toronto. So we no problem with that. With Sounds Interchange, it's a beautiful Westlake room, and we had Mike Jones on engineer. He wound up working with everybody, Blue Rodeo and everybody, but this was his first album in Canada. He had come over from England, and so we record the album, and then it gets turned down by everybody. So it got turned down at the demo stage, and then it got turned down after we recorded it by everybody. So we go back on the road, and we're back on the road playing covers, and for the next 6 months, 7 months. And then I got a call. We're in Thunder Bay in January, and I got a call from
the worst place on earth to be in January.
Yeah, it's like Hoth in Star Wars, it's like the frozen planet. And so he says, you're not gonna believe this. He says, we just got an offer on the record, and this is after 6-7 months of just getting turned down by everybody. And I said, oh yeah, with who? And he goes, Capricorn. I go, no way. And he says, yeah, you got an offer from and that was one of the ones we wanted the most to get a deal from.
They had a lot of great Southern rock bands, didn't they?
Yeah, and it was just kind of fit with us, and Marshall Tucker and all those guys, Delbert McClinton, Elvin Bishop. And so we come back from Thunder Bay on the Monday, and then on the Tuesday, we've got another offer from CBS New York, which was even better than the Capricorn offer. But they wanted just my brother and I, and they wanted to redo the album. They wanted my brother and I to go move to New York, and they wanted to redo the album with put their artists on it, blah blah, different producer, different
session musicians, and
yeah, everything, and I mean, and in all honesty, it was an appealing offer, but like Terry was like the third brother. There's no there was no way we would ever consider doing anything that didn't include Terry. And so that was kind of the deal breaker. And that's kind of why we went with Capricorn. But the CBS New York deal, I mean, you know, hindsight being 2020 and all that, I mean, I don't know, maybe we would have been a lot more successful. Who knows? But, you know, it was one of those forks in the road, and we chose to go with Capricorn. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's only now that you know what eventually would happen to Capricorn Records.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. So there's the official origin story of the Capricorn Records signing. So that's good to know. Good to get that out there. And
okay, well, here's the little footnote to that. So when we finally meet the Capricorn people, and I meet the guy who signed us. The guy who signed us was this guy, David Hersher, who had come over from Warner Brothers and had done big signings. They brought him over to Capricorn as the A&R guy. So here's how we got signed. He gets our tape, and our lawyer had sent him the tape, or our manager had sent him the tape, and he hears it, and he goes, this sounds fishy. And what they used to do is the A&R guys at the different labels would sometimes play tricks on each other, and they would send them. They would, for example, put the new Springsteen album in a shitty box and call it something else and send it to the guy as a practical joke. And then the guy would turn them down, and they'd say, "You don't know anything. You just turned down Springsteen, you idiot." So he thought our album was the new Eagles album, and that one of the A&R guys was just messing with him. So he sat on it for the 6 months. He heard it right away when we had sent it out with our lawyer. He sat on it for like 6-7 months. And then finally, like, a new Eagles thing came out, and he goes, maybe that tape,
that's not what I heard.
That's not what I heard. He goes back and listens to us, calls us up, and we get the offer the next day, you know, because he was in love with it, but he thought somebody was screwing with him, you know.
That's funny. The story of spending the 4 months in a residency in Quebec, that kind of proves the 10,000 hours theory of it takes that long to become a master at something. And it's you basically collapse time frames by playing every day for 4 months. You developed the talent of the band instead of over a 5-year period. It's like you collapse those time frames, and it's kind of like the story of the Beatles, right, where they were playing almost every day, several sets a day, and they became the best live band on the planet.
It's funny you mention that, because I tell that to my students. I'm a big fan of the Gladwell book, and the fact that he spends a chapter on the Beatles and the Reeperbahn and all that stuff is the same thing. I mean, I looked at that as an opportunity, you know, and I thought, guys, if nothing else, it's winter. We're not going to be killed on the road. Let's just look at this as an opportunity. And the money wasn't great, you know, but it was like, it really was the turning point for us, you know. I'm not kidding you, Joel. This was like the tightest band on earth after 4 months. And I know people that saw us then and go, you guys were like ridiculous. And I said, yeah, we were ridiculous because we practiced every day for like 4 or 5 hours, you know, especially with the harmonies and stuff like that. That just doesn't happen, you know. That's practice. And